And their fan, all right? Welcome everyone to the Reds Around the World channel. Here you will find facts and news from our beloved Liverpool. Today, we bring you the latest information that is rocking the backstage of mighty Liverpool. Now, without further ado, let's get to the news. When Liverpool ruled out further adding to their squad before the end of the transfer window, there was always the caveat of, unless something drastically changes. With 3 new signings wrapped up, Jurgen Klopp and the recruitment team believed they had done enough ahead of the new season, with the logic behind not signing another midfielder being that the perfect one was not available. Liverpool were hoping to start the new Premier League season with 3 points and no injuries on Saturday afternoon, yet football isn't that simple. Jurgen Klopp's side could only muster a 2-2 draw with Fulham at Craven Cottage. To make matters worse, they lost Thiago Alcantara to injury. He's expected to be out for around 6 weeks with a hamstring complaint, leaving the Reds short in central midfield. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain also has a sore hamstring, while Curtis Jones is nursing a calf injury. Although Naby Keita is nearing a return to fitness after contracting COVID, Klopp may need to dip into the transfer market for a short-term solution to this dilemma. Long-term, Jude Bellingham would be an ideal signing for Liverpool. The England international, 19, is already a top central midfielder and, hopefully, will get better with age. Yet he wants to stay at German side Borussia Dortmund for at least another season. Matheus Nunes, who was linked with Liverpool earlier in the summer, seems a better fit stylistically. If Liverpool do change their transfer stance before the end of the summer, activating a reasonable release clause would not be economically unviable, and his stands at €60 million, £51 million. Portuguese outlet Correio da Manhã reported earlier this week, via Paisley Gates, that the 23-year-old midfielder, labelled one of the best in the world by Pep Guardiola last season, would be open to a move to Liverpool or Manchester City. Nunes has supposedly rejected the contract of a lifetime from Wolves in a bid to entice one of the top Premier League clubs to sign him instead. By all accounts, it is a deal that Liverpool could do if they chose to. With James Milner, Naby Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain out of contract at the end of the season, adding another midfielder this summer would not rule out the possibility of Bellingham arriving next year either. But at the same time, that release clause has not suddenly been added to Nunes' contract this week. It has been there all summer and Liverpool could, therefore, have signed him well in advance of pre-season had they felt he was worth pursuing. Arguably, given the release clause, signing Nunes at this point would be a bigger admission of them panicking in the transfer market than bringing someone in without a set price tag. At least with other players they could point to a lesser fee or change in a player's situation, meaning they entered the fray. The quandary, though, is that if he had been deemed good enough to be a Liverpool player, with the players out of contract next summer and the unreliability of the ones who remain for now, Nunes would likely already have been signed. Finding a short-term solution is difficult, especially if you're a so-called top 6th club. Yet Leicester midfielder Youri Tielemans might just be the answer. The 25-year-old has just 11 months left on his contract and could be available for as little as £25 million. Tielemans is viewed as one of the best midfielders outside the Premier League's top 6 and regularly features for Belgium's globe-trotting side. He's a nice passer of the ball and does contribute with goals, finding the net 7 times last season. Tielemans is also young enough to be influenced by Klopp's coaching and will only go up in value if Liverpool get him on the cheap. There's a chance the Reds could sell the Belgian for a profit in 12 months' time and use that cash to finance a move for Bellingham. There are some Liverpool fans that are against signing a new central midfielder, which is understandable. Klopp is eager to give opportunities to Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones, but that's a risky move as both players have struggled with injuries. There's also a question over whether Elliott is destined to become a central midfielder. The 19-year-old has shown promise as a winger and Klopp may decide to mould him into a long-term replacement for Mohamed Salah instead of Thiago. Liverpool will need to be prepared for the season ahead. They played in every single competitive game last season, 63 in total, and will be hoping for a repeat of this term. In fact, the Reds could end up playing 64 matches, seeing as they won the Community Shield. Based on his age and contract, Tielemans would be an ideal option for Klopp's side. He would be an able deputy for Thiago and the Reds could end up making a profit on him in the future. With Liverpool's injury list growing, signing Tielemans is a risk worth taking. However, according to reports from Spanish broadcasters Radio Castellan and Esport Base, Liverpool have submitted an offer for Villarreal star Yeremy Pino. The Reds are reportedly set to battle Premier League rivals Arsenal for the 19-year-old signature after Mikel Arteta's side intensified their own interest earlier this week, potentially forcing a similar situation to when Tottenham approached Luis Diaz in January. Earlier this week, Spanish journalist Xavi Jorquera Marquez reported that both sides had a bid of €40 million on the table. Pino enjoyed a breakthrough campaign for the Yellow Submarine, scoring 6 goals, including 4 in one game against Espanyol in February, and adding 4 assists in 31 league games and helping the Spanish outfit to the Champions League semi-finals, where they were knocked out by Liverpool. His exploits have attracted interest from across Europe, but it is the Reds alongside Arsenal who are said to be battling it out. But while both have reportedly tabled bids around £33.8 million, it remains far short of the teenager's €67.5 million release clause and some way off Villarreal's apparent €60 million, around £51 million, valuation. The La Liga side's financial situation, rather, the entirety of La Liga's financial situation, means they are open to selling any of assets at the right price, but Pino is one of the brightest talents to come through the academy, and those in charge at El Madrigal know all too well his value. There is also said to be an understanding within the wingers camp that Villarreal remains the best place to develop and, still just 19, there is no rush to make the step up to one of Europe's elite clubs. Whether the Reds move for Pino now or in future windows remains to be seen, but the Spaniard fits the profile of recent incomings as Jurgen Klopp continues his attempts to rebalance an aging squad. Darwin Nunes only turned 23 shortly after arriving at Anfield for an initial £64 million, while teenage duo Fabio Carvalho and Calvin Ramsey were bought as much for the future as for now. Pino's 2027 contract and significant release clause makes a move this summer unlikely, especially given Mohamed Salah's contract extension and the need, if anything, for reinforcements in midfield. So, what do you think about this information? Do you agree with possible hires? Leave your opinions in the comments. Your opinions are of great importance to our beloved Liverpool and above all, to improve this channel for you every day. Reds fan, we really need your help to grow this channel that is totally dedicated to you. For that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your likes, it helps our work a lot. Thanks. Greetings.